Hey everyone, Radbit here, and today let's talk about Sonic Battle Frenzy, a concept Sonic fighting game that I've had for a bit now, and it's actually gone through different stages, and a lot of characters have gotten deleted over time. So, without further ado, I'm Radbit, and today we're going to be talking about Sonic Battle Frenzy. I just said this, but anyways, subscribe if you want to see more game concept videos like this. Let's get on to it with our first base roster character, meaning Sonic the Hedgehog, who is a fast combo character relying on mostly kicks and spin dashes. Then we have Super Sonic, of course, who is an evolved, stronger version of Sonic who can shoot out light beams and move faster, basically a more evolved Sonic. Then there's Dark Spine Sonic. This evolves from, by the way, this is from an old version of the game that I had, so don't mind these evolve from things. He's able to have about a bunch of speed, and the aura around him actually slows opponents when they get too close. Then there's Classic Sonic, who uses different items from the original game. He's just like original Sonic, but he can also use jump pads, store the bricks from the map, spin dashes, all that. And then we have Free Rider Sonic, who mostly relies on his free riding extreme gear to attack the opponents. And of course the Werehog, who is a zoner, more like a zoning grappler. Of course, he's able to grab the opponents and stretch his arms out, and as well as use some abilities just like Sonic. Then there's Tails, who has different things to slow, stun, and take down the opponents. He's also able to go in the air with his tails like MODOK would in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Knuckles uses his spines and punches, and he would be the grappler of the game, the main grappler of the game. But also he can jump onto the side of the stage like Warwick could into XKO, and then he can also glide off of it like I think Sun could in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Amy Rose uses her giant hammer, and she'd be more of like a zoning character who's also able to, throw and then shoot out projectiles. So it would be like Dedede Gordos in Super Smash Bros. Eggman is a big I saw Jacko and I thought of the word pumpkin. He's a big puppet character like Jacko, so he's able to summon a lot of different henchmen and stuff. And then Shadow's a bit of a gimmick character. He's able to stun characters with chaos energy. He works just like Sonic, spin dashes, kicks, and everything, except of course he has the stuns. Cream and Cheese is a puppet character. They play like Rosalina and Luma in Smash. Cheese is the main character fighting, while Cream would be the one in the background, like how Bedman and Delilah would work, except this time Cream does have a hitbox, and Cheese also has a hitbox. Then Silver uses telekinesis. He can lift things from the foreground, the background, to throw them at the opponents. He's a bit of a zoning character, and he could also be played as a rushdown. Blaze would definitely be a big rushdown character, being able to dash right to the opponent and then set them on fire, dealing a lot of fire damage. Should also play a little bit just like Soul Bad Guy maybe. Should be a big Shoto of the game. And then Burning Blaze could also be a Shoto or a rushdown character. Increased speed, fire damage lasts longer, and she's able to do more damage. Then Big the Cat is a big Potemkin-like character, a big grabber, but can also use the fishing rod, just like Isabelle in Smash Bros, to bring opponents over to him. Then Espio would play just like Chip in Guilty Gear. He'd be able to go up, teleport, ninja stars, all that. Oh, the teleportation is not really teleportation, but going invisible. Or go invisible, and then it works the way Lucy and Teemo does. And then Vector can bite down on the opponents. He can grapple them, shoot fire. He can scream to stun, and of course use explosive bubblegum to knock them back far. Charmy has strong kicks, and he's also able to deal a lot of poison damage and plays like a good rushdown. Rouge also plays as another rushdown, getting right to the opponent, and she even pickpockets the opponent, which is a bit like Slayer's ability where he grabs them. This would be her grab. This would heal her. Then Omega, E123 Omega, has many bullets, plays as a good offense character, and a lot of grab. He can also do a lot of grabs, and he can even dash over with his thrusters. Then we have the Babylonian Rogues with Jed, who uses his extreme gear, as well as Wave, who uses the extreme gear, and Storm, except Storm is way more tanky. And then we have Tikal. Tikal uses the she has mostly normal abilities. She's like a natural character in the game, except she has access to the Master Armor, of course. So this lets her use for telekinesis, and even make her thoughts into reality. So she'd be a very normal character when it comes to her attacks, but her special attacks would be very zony. And then Metal Sonic is a pretty natural character, plays a bit like Shadow, so it'd be a pretty big rush down character, get to the opponent real quick, hit them and hit a lot of crits. And then Neo Metal Sonic is a way stronger version of Metal Sonic. He has rockets, Fire Blast, now his sharp body can deal critical damage, which makes them even take over time. And he's even able to hit a lot of counters. He would also play like Spider-Man in Marvel Tokon. If you've seen from the beta footage for Spider-Man, he has that spider sense ability. Megasonic Mark II is fast, shoots rockets, lasers, all that, natural character. And then we have Chaos, who can stretch his body, make electricity flow through it to attack the characters. He'd play a bit like Shumagorath in Marvel vs. Capcom. And then we have Mephiles the Dark, who can rewind time to heal himself, basically putting him back in a past location. And he can also stun opponents. Infinite can summon different things using his telekinesis abilities, and even stun the opponents, or delete their health over time with different abilities that could do, like fire damage, stuns could even do it. Depends on what you choose to do with Infinite. So he would have like the crystal right here, if I remember from Sonic Forces, does a lot. I just can't really think of it right now. And then we got Sage. So Sage can shoot beams, teleport through opponents, and summon badniks. And if you've been keeping up, this little robot thing right here. So every robot character at the start of the battle gets stunned by Sage if you have full meter. And then we have E102 Gamma, who has a blaster, and then this disc right here, which can sweep up opponents and knock them. Metal Knuckles is a very fast-moving character, hard punches. Not much to him. He plays mostly like Knuckles, except he doesn't have the glide, and he's more tanky. Eggman Nega uses different gadgets, guns, and he's also able to teleport. Orbot and Cubot, Orbot being the main one you play as. They're the first dual character, well, the second dual character in the game other than Cream and Cheese, but the first real dual character because you get to play as both of them. Orbot is the main one brawling, while Cubot is usually on the side helping out with different specials. Sally Acorn is a martial arts master who can use different weapons, and a holographic version of Nicole, which you'll see Nicole later. Mighty is a hard-hitting character who is able to block multiple attacks, and when he's in the blocking position, he's able to attack. And then Ray the Flying Squirrel has the same abilities, where he's able to jump on the wall and then glide off like Knuckles. Knack the Weasel uses hard kicks, and he's even able to use his gun, and his gun works just like Happy Chaos's in GGST. Beam can throw bombs, and he's a very good zoner, while Bark is meant to be played like a grappler, more like Hagar in Marvel vs. Capcom. Tangle is a skilled fighter. He uses her tail. She uses her tail as a third arm, basically, doing very hard combos and keeping you away. Whisper's my favorite character in Sonic, if you've seen, and I would definitely main Whisper. She is a very, very heavy, like, sniper, and I think that Whisper could play just like Unica, so she could, in Guilty Gear, so she could swap out different Wisps to do different abilities, and I would love to play as Whisper. I'd also love to play as Surge because she would have this ability where, of course, she can use spin dashes and electricity to stun opponents, but I feel like she could have this ability where if you're playing as someone like Chaos cannot be damaged by certain attacks, but if you're playing as somebody else, like a robot, they can get highly damaged, and then a normal character gets natural damage. And so she would be able to, like, shock the floor. Depending on the stage, she'd be able to shock the floor and get everybody all messed up, stuns, everything. I think Surge would be so broken and so fun. And then we have Emerald, who can copy abilities. He has the smarts of Tails, speed of Sonic, the fighting style of Shadow, and the strength of Knuckles. I think Emerald will also be a crazy character. He'd be like the UI Goku of the game. And then we have Honey the Cat, who's a fast character. Again, she's also able to do that same ability where she can go on walls. She would play like Sun in Marvel vs. Capcom. She's able to go invisible for a small bit. And then we have Zabok, who's a very strong character, using fireballs, large beams. I feel like he would probably play like Gold Lewis in Guilty Gear, or maybe even like Hulk in Marvel vs. Capcom. I keep comparing Marvel vs. Capcom and Guilty Gear, as you can see. And then Zaz can control different machines with magnetic manipulation. Sticks is a pretty good character with slingshots, different hits and attacks, and of course, using sticks. I think she would probably play maybe like Jita in Grand Blue. Same with Marine. I feel like she would probably play like a Grand Blue character. She's able to make water, use different liquids, and make them also explode. And then we have our last base roster character being Trip the Sungrazer, who is the only character to have a selectable style, since this is mostly how you see her in I forgot which Sonic game it is. But she's a hard-hitting character, can use her speed, tail, of course, to knock down opponents. And then we move to our DLC with Heavy and Bomb as our first DLC character. These guys are from the Chaotix, if you didn't know. I think they were also cut characters in the Chaotix, if I remember. Heavy and Bomb are dual character. Heavy is the main character, while he throws Bomb at different opponents to make them explode. He probably play like a puppet character. And then we have the Tails doll, who is canon to Sonic technically, because Tails doll was in Sonic R, if you remember that game, which was the Sonic racing game. Tails doll would be a very fun character. So Tails doll can float around, but when Tails doll fights, it opens its body, showing lots of teeth on the inside. It builds more character for Tails doll, and since Tails doll really has nothing to them right now, I think doing this, making Tails doll a big monster on the inside, or like a mimic, would be pretty cool. And then we have Wisp Sonic from Sonic Colors. Now, this is another Sonic. They probably wouldn't do this with this theoretical game, but Sonic would be able to use the different Wisp abilities from Sonic Colors. And then we have Kit Tsunami, who will be able to slap opponents back with water blasts, and he would also be able to regenerate some health over time. Then we have the Egg Pawn, which the Egg Pawn is a pretty basic character with a jetpack, a lance, and able to shoot finger blasts. Silver Sonic, which, yes, this is Silver Sonic, not Mecha Sonic. Mecha Sonic and Silver Sonic are a different character. So these clamp arms are here, he'll be able to keep opponents back, shoot small blasts and all that. And then Rough and Tumble. Rough and Tumble work as a double character. So basically how these work, and I'll read it just directly from here. These two work as a double character. You start out with Rough, which if I remember, this is Rough. He uses his tail and gadgets. Then go to Tumble. He uses gadgets as well, brute strength, and they both have only half health. So basically, what it is you start by playing Rough. And once you end off that half health that you have, as you die as Rough, then you swap over automatically to Tumble. Then we have Dr. Starline, who uses the Warp Topaz, which is this right here, to teleport and summon Badniks. Then we have Mimic, who utilizes other characters' attacks and abilities like Double and Skullgirls. Julie Sue is Knuckles' girlfriend, if you didn't know, which in one of the comics, she is his girlfriend. She uses her gun and different fighting skills. Then Bunny D. Colette is able to shoot different lasers out of her arms, deflect hits, and although she is technically considered a robot, she isn't. Okay, so technically, yes, she is a robot because she was taken over by, if I remember, over by the infections or whatever that Eggman did. All I remember is this happened in Sonic Underground. I remember that show. That was a really good show. So technically she's a robot, so she does get stunned by Sage. Then we have Scourge, and Scourge is basically on par with Sonic, but he does have chaos powers. Then Xena can make red tether to pull opponents, grab them, and stun them. Zora can make himself cloned with a decoy body like what's it called? Like Happy Chaos. And swarm the opponents with bats. Zik is a martial arts master. He's able to fly at the opponents. And Zaman plays just like a big grappler. So again, Hulk, Hagar, Potemkin, characters like that. But he's also able to keep you away with dust tornadoes. And then we move to the big Excalibur series with Excalibur Sonic, who's super fast, super strong, and would probably play like the Gogeta 4 of the game. Sir Gawain utilizes big sword, and he's a basically all these characters you see here, part of the Sonic Knights series, would definitely play like Grand Blue characters. Sir Lancelot is pretty fast, faster than normal Sonic. He's able to use, of course, the sword. The same thing with Sir Galahad and Sir Percival, except Sir Percival is able to use pyrokinesis. Oh, I went back. I'm sorry. And then Sir Lamorc uses big blades as well. Then King Arthur uses his large sword, slash against opponents, and even summon underworld minions. Merlina uses her staff to cast spells and stuff, and then Dark Queen is very fast, has one ability where she becomes immune to all attacks for 3 seconds, but she's also able to get disrupted though during the start of this, so it'd be like a bit like Queen Dizzy's wing ability in Guilty Gear Strive. And then we move on to the Sonic, I forgot what show this was. Anyways, Rusty Rose is basically Amy, except she's way stronger and she has more defense. Knuckles the Dread has the blue prism, which can shoot out lightning from his sword. Chaos Sonic is an upgraded version of Sonic. He trash talks you, and this actually takes away your health. And he basically would play like a Deadpool, a bit like Deadpool from Marvel vs. Capcom. And then Alpha Grim Sonic, very fast, faster than base Sonic, and he's really only able to kick and punch. Then we have Avatar, who, if you don't remember Avatar, he's the guy from Sonic Forces. This is the base one that they use in the trailer. These are the 2 Wispins, or the 3 Wispins. They use the 3 Wispins you can switch from, which is the Fire, the Lightning, and the Burn. And then our last character here is Gamero, who's a fast, hard-hitting character who can also use Chocolate of the Chow to fight with him. So that's the end of every Sonic Battle Frenzy character. I think Sonic Battle Frenzy would be a pretty fun game if it were to release, and I think it does have an unrealistic size of characters. Now, there were over 100 characters in the original list. If I can even find the image, I'll probably put it up one day. But there are a lot of characters that I planned for this game. But either way, I think Sonic Battle Frenzy would be so fun. I love fighting games, and I think seeing a new one like this with so many characters with, yes, similar abilities like Dragon Ball FighterZ, but again, so many unique abilities like something like Marvel vs. Capcom would be such a fun game. Either way, I think Sonic Battle Frenzy would be cool. I love Sonic, and it's such a good series. If you want to see more videos like this, more game ideas, more content, make sure to subscribe. Comment what type of videos that you would like to see in the future. And that's all I'd have to say for now. Subscribe, comment. I keep repeating, I'm not good at this. Have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time zone you're in right now. Bye.